Listening to your goals and dreams is our top priority at West Tennessee Bank. Benefit from our more than 100 years of experience and visit our Henderson branch today. West Tennessee Bank, focused on you. West Tennessee Bank is a division of Decatur County Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
All right, there is a quorum present, so we'll go ahead and proceed with the meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Make a motion to approve the agenda. Second. We have a motion second to approve our agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed no. And it is approved. And the first thing on our agenda will be a consent agenda. Make a motion to approve. Second. We have a motion second to approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed no. Then it will be approved. And we're going to go down to a spotlight and celebration. We're going to skip the delegations for one moment here. And Troy, I'll let you introduce that.
Okay, outside in the hallways, as they come in, we've got representatives very much on cue, thankfully. We've got representatives from our local Chester County High School, HOSA. They competed in a virtual state competition recently and placed second in the competition, which affords them the opportunity to compete at the national. So also joining them are two of their health science ed teachers, Miss Jessica Emerson on the far right, and then Miss Ginger McPherson next to her. So these ladies are going to talk about what they did and did well, representing Chester County High School, and anything else you want to share.
Okay, the first team we have are the Medical Reserve team. They partner with the Medical Reserve Corps out of West Tennessee, and it's Kendall and Shipman, Madison Hopper, and Kennedy Holman. Ava Cox is also a member of that team, but she was not able to be here tonight. They have to document all their projects that they do all year long, and it's on emergency preparedness. So I'd rather them explain some of the things that they've done throughout the year, and it's quite a bit.
We make sure the students have the latest updates on emergencies such as tornadoes and earthquakes. HOSA sponsors these events to include the Great American Shakeout and other drills. We make sure to include other initiatives such as dueling and tobacco safety.
In one activity, we partner with the health department to give out flu shots. They set up a flu pod at the farmer's market where cars can drive through and get a free flu shot if they want. And then we also partner with the Tennessee Department of Health, and participants learn how to pack and tie tourniquets in case of a life-threatening situation.
While we partake in our active shooter drill at school every year, our partnerships has been with our drama team, criminal justice team, the Chester County Police Department, Sheriff's Department, EMS, 911 Dispatch, Chester County Fire Department, and our county and city members.
They have to develop a portfolio and stand in front of the judges and present all this information in a certain time length. And they compete against all these different schools across Tennessee. And it's usually probably 20 to 30 teams that they compete with. The second team that won second place at state is the health education team, consists of Melina Alexander and Addison Summers. They take a lesson of a topic that they feel is very important, teach it to a specific audience, and then develop their portfolio as well to present to the judges. I'll let them tell you about theirs.
Our topic was about body image. We taught freshmen and some sophomores because starting high school is already really hard, just coming to a new school. A negative body image is really common in underclassmen. So we chose that because we have to show them the impact social media could have on their outward image today. So we use several activities to show the students the importance of having a healthy body image. Our portfolio consisted of 30 pages demonstrating the activities we use to get our message of having a positive body image and the positive effects on our health.
These teams have placed second at state each year that they've competed. This team starting as freshmen, and then this team for the last 2 years. Next year, they'll all be seniors. They're hoping to come back with first place and continue with the same preparedness and education that they've already been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next thing on our agenda is going to be delegations. Gordon, you want to introduce this, please?
Sure. The spokesman that I have spoken with most frequently is Marla Davidson. I know that you had mentioned somebody else was going to address the board, but I don't know who that other person is. So I'll just let you, I guess, start the conversation.
Okay. I'm gonna stand, because I want everybody to be able to
You
hear.
come up here if you want to.
I'm good. Not having them behind is better. I'd like to first start out by saying thank you. Thank you, Troy, for allowing us to talk to you. Thank you, each board member that has listened to a parent, listened to a student, if they have approached you on this matter that we're here for tonight. First, I want to say, I think that we can honestly say that we all prayed at this point that our state would be back up at 100% and that there would be no restrictions on living life. But unfortunately, we're still at 50%. What we are here tonight to ask y'all is to please hear us out and hear our reasons that we would like to ask you to move graduation to Eagle Stadium with no restrictions, because with my understanding that we can have an outside ceremony with no restrictions. I know it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort among our administration. I think one of them standing back there, it's going to take a lot of time from him. It will take a lot of time from Dr. Catlett. But in saying that, these kids are worth it. They have been without this school year. We've had to cancel our spring sports. Seniors have not got to play their last senior game. Spring play, which I think we can all agree that have been to our theater lately, we have got an awesome theater department. They didn't get to finish that production. We've got the senior walkthrough town, project graduation. All of those things are so traditional to these kids that they're not getting to have the traditional events that they're used to having. We're just asking for y'all to hear us out. Before we do, I want Josie, she is a senior, I want her to tell y'all her reasons that she's asking y'all to please consider to move this to Eagle Stadium. And then after she says something, I've got a mom that she wants to stand up, and then I will be ready to give you my closing argument here. So just be patient with us, and if you don't mind, just hear us out. I think it's very important that as a student body, this child, she can speak for some of them. Now, saying that, I will say this before we go any further. Yes, we have tried to push this agenda out to all parents possible. We have a senior project graduation parent page that's how the majority of us have communicated through this senior year. We have posted on that senior page. We have even ran a poll. We have the results of the poll, and we don't mind sharing it with you. We have sent out group texts. We started a text with 16 people, and then those 16 people pushed it out to their friends. So we have tried to get this out as much as possible. And I think the parent page was the most effective way, because that's how we have communicated all year with project graduation. Right now, I'm going to introduce Josie Shebash, and she is one of our seniors. And yeah, she's a little nervous, but this is welcome to adulthood.
Josie, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ice you. I'm glad to hear it. But there's just a little matter on the back of my mind that I think we might need to clear up. On my agenda, we didn't have any delegations listed. At what point did this delegation get moved to the agenda?
Saturday was my first conversation with Marla. I had called Bob that same day. Since the delegation was already posted, I mean, as far as a slot, at the time that I sent you gentlemen the agenda, there was no conversation because the agendas were made on Friday, or you picked them up on Friday. So I mentioned to Bob, and of course, I think I looped you guys in at least to 2 email correspondence, and Shane was included early because of his background being the pastor of Sanford Hill. I knew that he was more aware of what executive orders would be applicable to look against what we were learning from President Shannon.
My concern is this. I think board policy calls for a 10-day window there. This should have been brought before the director 10 days prior to tonight to properly be presented. And if we take action tonight without doing some housekeeping here first, whatever we do may possibly be null. we'd be violating our own policy.
I agree, and I have,
Let
I
me-
have-
let-
okay,
let-
I thought
let
you were
me-
finished.
No, ma'am, let me finish. That being said, if I can make a motion that we waive that policy in light of the fact that you told you would be heard, and because of the way that we've all had to change the way that we do business, I would make a motion that we waive the policy for reasons stated and go ahead and hear the delegation.
All right, we have a motion and second that we do waive the policy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, then we will continue.
Thank you.
One other quick question.
Yes,
No limitations on the outside, is that?
No, not necessarily. It's no capacity
No
limitations.
capacity.
You still have to have a 6 foot distance between groups. So it's not, you can say no limitation, but it's much lax, more
and
lax.
if we have it at the
Yes,
stadium, we have a lot more room that we can spread out and be happy.
Exactly. But just that's just kind of to be technically, there is a limitation, but it's not near what it would be.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, Ms. Jones.
Every student looks forward to his or her graduation day. It's a celebration of 13 years of hard work and the official crossing over into adulthood. I would like to ask each of you to take a moment to think back to the night of your high school graduation. Likely you spent the hour leading up to the big moment, corralled with your friends into the school gym or cafeteria, laughing at how ridiculous you all looked in your cap and gowns. Taking special effort to make fun of your friends that clearly did not take their gown out of the bag until that day. And it shows. As the time drew nearer, your teachers began frantically putting everyone in alphabetical order. As you're ready to walk out to your seat, the nervousness began to build, and you likely started to think about not falling as you walked across the stage to receive your diploma. Your mom played back the instructions. Shake with the right, take the diploma with my left, don't fall, oh, and smile. It seemed like you waited forever, but within minutes you were marched to your seat. Now please think back to the first thing you did when you entered the area with all the spectators that were seated. Did you scan the crowd looking for a familiar face? You likely looked around for your mom and dad. Maybe you were fortunate enough that your grandparents were still alive and you looked for them. Perhaps your siblings, your aunts and uncles and cousins were on your radar. You were looking for your support system, those that got you to that moment in time. You were looking for the people that supported you in your school through the years of school plays, practices, games, club meetings, Krispy Kreme donut fundraisers, car washes, and bake sales. All they ever expected in return was the opportunity to watch you walk across that stage and receive your diploma. Like myself, many of my classmates have not one but two sets of parents. Growing up, everything I've done has been separated. 2 birthdays, 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings, 2 everything. Which sounds good, but it meant never having everyone I loved at the same gathering at the same time. Not once have I been able to experience all of my family gathered around to celebrate my achievements. My graduation would have been the first time everyone I cared about could come together for one special occasion. I don't mean to sound selfish at all, but it is hard not to when the thought of your whole family gathered around to celebrate you has been on your mind ever since your education first began. I'm not here to make you feel bad for me. I'm here to make you aware of what is being taken away from not only myself, but my fellow classmates as well. I have 2 moms and 2 dads and 4 siblings, totaling 8 immediate family members. I'm only being allowed 6 tickets, which means I have to choose 2 people who cannot attend. So am I supposed to leave off a sibling, or 2, or a mom, or a dad? How can I exclude my grandmother who took me to school every morning? There's no ticket for my aunt who taught me how to produce a college-level writing for my dual enrollment classes, and no admittance for my grandfather who never missed a single one of my sporting events. Trying to decide who will get to attend my graduation has already caused hurt feelings and rifts in family relationships. Again, I ask you to think back to your graduation. Could you have easily chosen only 6 people to attend? Would you have had trouble telling your nana or papa, sorry, you cannot be with me to celebrate my big day? On behalf of the class of 2020, I respectfully ask that you take into consideration moving the graduation ceremony so that our loved ones can celebrate our greatest life achievements thus far. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. I'm not good at this, and I probably won't get through it after that. That's tough. Good job, Josie. I know some of you really well. Some of you I don't know. I'm Suzanne McCarver. My husband is Brian McCarver. I don't know if that helps me or hurts me, but. That's my husband. We have 2 children in the school system, one who's entering the high school this year, and our Lily, who's graduating. And Lily is the valedictorian of this class. She's the student council president. She's the senior editor of the yearbook. She's worked hard. And I won't put you on the spot. She's a teacher in the spring who knows that little girl, how shy and what a hard time she had going through school and how hard she's worked to get to this point. When I went to her and told her that after me and your dad and your brother get a ticket, you have 3 tickets and you get to choose. She said, how am I going to do that? How do I pick? Who do I tell that they can't come? So I told her she didn't have to, so I picked for her. And we picked on space who probably wouldn't get to see her graduate from college or get married or have kids. So we picked based on that. So please, that's just one situation. And this is just one situation. There are so many kids who this is going to be such a hard time for. And we're not here to be confrontational. I wouldn't have your job. I know it's hard. And I know that there are people who are difficult, and I'm not trying to be one of those people. I don't think any of these people are trying to be like that. We just want what's best for these kids. We've watched them lose everything they were looking forward to. Everything. And I know this is not the end of the world. Graduation and prom, it's not. These aren't things that are the end of the world, but it was a lot at one time. So just keep these things in your mind and in your heart when you make these decisions.
So at this time, I'm just going to let y'all know what we, as some parents, not all parents, like I said, we have tried to reach out to all parents that we could and get opinions. And if you agree or don't agree, be here. What we are asking y'all to do is simply move our graduation to Eagle Stadium. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the class of 1988 was the last class to graduate on Eagle Stadium. I know it's going to take money. I know it is going to take a lot of effort, trust me, because we have 2 moms in this crowd that they have put together a prom for these kids in less than a month's time that us parents are sponsoring and paying for. So it can be done. Think about these kids. So this is what we're asking. Eagle Stadium, if it rains, move it back to Freed-Hardeman. If Mr. Shannon agrees, move it back to Lord Auditorium with the 6 ticket restriction if we're still under 50% capacity. If we're not, then go ahead and lift it up so these kids can have their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, everyone there. There won't be any having to rush on Monday and set it up. We're having our backyard there on Sunday night with a 6 ticket restriction. We understand that. We're not asking that to be lifted unless it's 100% and then whatever Mr. Shannon agrees to that. So we are asking y'all to just take into consideration moving it to Eagle Stadium. We have no restrictions there. And if it rains up, the backup plan could be Freed-Hardeman if they would still allow us to do that. And I think I understand that they have offered to do that. So that is our plea. I would, I don't know what else to add to y'all. Add to y'all understand that there are some kids, there are some parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, that really want to be there. And I know that there are even kids that just say, let's just graduate. We're over it. Well, we understand, because at this age, they're over it. But us mamas and daddies and grandparents, we want the pictures, we want the tears, we want all of the good things, because we pushed them this hard. Their teachers have pushed them. So, if y'all have any questions, we're open.
How many people got back with you as far as wanting to?
Here's a stack of people that have signed.
How many?
These were the people that were at meetings, and then also, were family members that said, that they wanted to come. Also, our poll showed 61 to 40 to move it. It was more than 69, I'm sorry, 69 to 40 to move it. And like I said, we used Facebook, our page that we have used all year, to push that out and to try to get the word out.
Let me point something out from a non-opinionated, because most of the people in this room know the comment that I made. Because my child just wants to graduate, doesn't matter where, he just wants it to be on a day. But you're talking about the poll. I voted to leave it as is. The only reason I voted, and I want to bring this up because I can't be the only one of that 40. The only reason I voted as is because I didn't want the date to change.
Right, and we don't want the date to change.
No, see, on that poll that you put out though, some of those other 40, like me, didn't know this contingency plan. If that contingency plan had been there may very well have been more of that 40 to vote with the 69. Am I making sense? Okay. So I just want to put that out there. I wasn't for or against.
I know.
But hearing that, I can't be the only one that wouldn't say, hey, that would work, kind of thing. So just to put that out.
Right. Anybody else?
I just want to share that, first of all, just we are on the same team. This isn't you coming being adversarial. We're on the team what's best for our students. So the board didn't make this decision. This decision was handed to us by government guidelines. So, and now that we can tweak it because we have more information since when it was made, we want, just like you want, what is the best for our senior class. So I should have said at the beginning so everybody wouldn't so nervous. I don't want to feel like it's we're this side or that side. Man, we can intermingle because we're on the same team.
I know. And I know that. I know y'all are.
And, we want what's best and what the best case to get the most people that fits the guidelines. And Eagle Stadium certainly is a little less restrictions. There would still be the 6 foot. Now people have to police their own. How will that work? But it still leaves a little more room. Actually, the inside activities now is limited. It's not 50% anymore. It is as many as your family, then social distance between families. So it's the restriction of 50% in a building is not even in place anymore. But you do have to social distance. If you have a group of 10 in your family, you've got to be 6 foot. So it's still going to limit the capacity.
And out of respect for Freed-Hardeman, that was their offer in the beginning.
Right.
And we would just like to have that same offer on this, unless the 100% capacity goes. And then, I would preferably think that they would lift that for us.
Because if there's a limit, does anybody in this room want to be the one to tell somebody they can't sit somewhere? No. So that's just to be clear. I just want us to know that we're on your team. I want what's best for the seniors to get the most people in one spot, so we have a memory that we can remember forever. So
I'd like to say something to the young lady. I graduated in the gym at the old high school, and I think you could be a rider. You're really good, but high school graduation is a day that you never forget. It's a one step, or it's a milestone in your life, and it was very hot when I graduated. Very hot. But with that, I'll make a motion.
Can I share some
You
more?
can share anything.
Before a motion's made, so because I do appreciate the interest everybody has, and let me just say this. Chester County has done a fantastic job of mitigating through all this silliness that we're living through. If you check your data, we're 12 for 12. We've had one child in our whole age 0 to 20 who has confirmed a case, recovered after 1 day of fever. Please don't let what we're seeing on the news, what we're hearing on the radio, what we're reading in the paper, to cause you to think that Chester County schools are not going to open. We are. We're going to open. I do ask you to give us some guidance with your internet surveys. We sent out things, remind message today. We've had over 600,
Almost 700.
700 who have replied to it. We really need that data to help craft the directions that we go. We're going to be smart when we return to school, but we're not going to be gripped by fear of a possibility that we can't predict. So with that being said, I do want to say also on behalf of Dr. Shannon or President Shannon, he has worked with us to check what he can adjust. It's not just a David Shannon in his office making these decisions. I assume, just like I can't wing it without board approval, he can't wing any of these decisions without his board of directors approval. So he has graciously continued to offer, and even another contingency that's a possibility that can double the seating capacity for each family. What it would require if we keep it as a plan B, as Marla said, we can split the graduation in 2 ceremonies. And each person at Lloyd, if it becomes, because again, all of us, Clay did it, I did it, we practice at 2 places. And lo and behold, guess what happens late in May? Rain. So for most of us, we practice at both places. We just stopped doing that back in the early 90s when Freed-Hardeman began to offer Lloyd Auditorium. You got great sound, you got great seating, and you got air conditioning. So it was so accommodating, we didn't have to worry about multi-purpose practices. We could all narrow our focus in what Lloyd would provide and move on with it. This is a circumstance, as Shane has described, that is not something that they have decided on their own. They're going by the guidelines from the meeting that Clay, Stephen, myself, Dr. Catlett, Angela Haltom, Dustin Insell, and his facility persons sat down and initiated this discussion that we will follow whatever the current guidelines are. And that's what we're doing. Shane confirmed that with his research of the same documentation. But if we were, again, to have a Plan B, and again, I'm calling your request Plan A, being first. But at baccalaureate service, we may be better to predict how the weather's going to be the next day, to give everybody the assurance of where we can have for the venue location. But if we have to return to Lloyd, President Shannon has offered to split it into 2 events on the same day, but just starting one a little earlier and starting the second one a little later, having the same setup, but again, a 6-ticket limit becomes a 12-ticket limit. So that may not, it still won't accommodate. Mark and myself, both daddies who got people walking too, we could exhaust 20. But we're having to abide by the same guidelines, just like you guys are. So I want to make sure that got out, Mr. Norris, that the option that Freed-Hardeman has offered to us is that we could split it to 2. My suggestion, start one at 6, whatever it finishes, give a little window to allow the folks to clear, give us a chance to clean up and get it prepared, and then the next one, say within a 30-minute window, the next one starts. Now, there's still a lot of planning with that. But that's an option that Freed-Hardeman offered to us. I didn't initiate with them. But it's a whole lot better Plan B unless seniors weigh in and said, I want all my friends there. And if so, that's a 6. You know what I'm saying? So if you split it into two, and if you check with other school districts around us, they split into 2 or 3 to make it work. So it's not something that we're just out there winging it. This has been modeled earlier. And again, I know that the heat is going to be a little bit more difficult with it being outside, but 7 o'clock last Sunday night, the sun was setting. It wasn't that bad. And if you are praying people like Marla claims, let's prove that God is truly the God of all creation as He provides us a really nice event. Okay.
Can we hear back what would be a preference?
Yeah, I would.
Would you rather have 6 in the whole class or 12 in half the class?
I'm gonna let the seniors answer that are here.
I'll speak up. Me and Josie have been best friends since 6th grade, so her last name is S and my last name is D, so
Wouldn't be
I
good.
wouldn't like that.
Yeah, my initial response would be, if I'm a senior, I'd rather have all my friends there.
And doing it at Eagle Stadium, I mean, I know this would kind of maybe put a burden on some elderly people, but maybe the possibility of bumping it to 7:30. That gives the sun 30 more minutes to go down. It gives the sun 30 more minutes to let the wind cool us off a little bit. We have a beautiful Eagle Stadium. You know, personally, I think we have got the prettiest football stadium. It accommodates a lot of events for this county. And that's one thing that I think is these kids and us parents that y'all have done for us. Y'all have enabled our kids and us as parents to remain a family, not a school system, not somewhere that we send our kids to just learn. We send our kids to home away from home mamas, home away from home daddies. You know, when you can drive up and push your kid out at East Chester and know that if she gets sick or if she needs a ride home, there's a teacher there that's going to do it. That means a lot. And I would just ask y'all to just keep our little school system, the caring and the compassionate school system that we have.
I make a motion that we move graduation to Eagle Stadium
Yes.
at 7:30. If that would be, the 7:30 be,
It can be accommodated.
With the contingency, the rain plan being the original plan.
Yes.
right.
I'll second.
With the contingency being Plan B is Lloyd with 6 ticket rule.
6 tickets.
Unless the restriction is lifted.
Yeah. Well, and we will, and here's the thing, and I hadn't read anything about lifting it. I looked last night and watched an hour-long briefing yesterday, and there was no mention at all.
Right.
But now, whatever the current executive order ruling is what we will follow.
And also, I think like we have talked, maybe our math might be off a little bit.
Well, it's not off, but it would be room in it, because again, when I first started the calculation, it was with 190. We've had some earlier graduates because of military training requirements, so now we're down to a smaller now.
And with the teachers moving to the stage.
Teachers, staff are going to be on the stage.
And that would allow us 7 tickets versus 6 tickets and still be less than half at 50%.
We're going to accommodate the best we can with what we
I
have.
know you are.
But again, we have to trust that President Shannon's going to give us the guidance.
Right, right. And we appreciate him and the school doing that for us. Because, you know, if they hadn't offered us to still come back, we would have had no proposal.
We do have a motion and a second, correct? Move to Eagle Stadium at 7:30. Any other discussion?
I caught the question, but I reserve the right to make a comment after we vote.
Okay, that's good. All right, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No. My statement is this. I agree with everything you said. Had I heard that last month, I'd have voted for you hands down. I would have. I don't think it's unanimous across the county. I know there are a lot of people who would rather have it at Lloyd. I don't know that they received proper notice to be here tonight. And I don't know how valid the survey is. I don't follow Facebook. If it hadn't been for my wife filling me in on what was going on social media, I would not have been aware of it. Having said all that, I support the board's decision. I'm glad that we're moving and I'm happy, and I hope you understand why I have to vote no. Thank y'all very much for coming. You did a great job, Joseph. You sold me.
You're the best salesman they had.
And I hope you understand, I am not against you. I want you to have it the way you want to have it, but I'm afraid there are a lot of voices that aren't being heard. I just want to speak for them.
I agree with Mark, but I think the Eagle Stadium, it just accommodates what our seeing. And it's gonna be hot, and if it rains, we have umbrellas.
All right, that is approved. And guys that came out for this, y'all are welcome to stay or to leave if y'all want to leave. That's entirely up to everybody that's here.
We just want to let y'all know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
If there's any way that I can help by moving it to the Eagle Stadium, I have no problem giving Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It don't matter. I've got plenty of vacation time, so I do not mind.
And parents did, at our meeting, they said, let us know. If Mr. Kilzer says, hey, we need this, call us. Because I think we've proven that we can put a prom together in a month's time. We can help with the graduation.
Well,
We can make it done.
We've got a new sheriff in town. He's standing in the back of the room.
I know it.
So he's a young guy with broad shoulders.
That's right.
Well, I would just like to say that from the beginning, we recognized that our seniors got the short end of the stick. As a high school staff, we met, we talked, we tried to think of every way and any way that we could accommodate our seniors. I just want you guys to know that. But we still had guidelines we had to follow. And the stadium, and work was mentioned, work's not an issue. We'll get it ready. And we'll do whatever we gotta do to get it ready. Because we wanted our seniors from the get-go, we wanted it to be as normal as we can make it and still follow the guidelines that we were under. And that's been our goal from the get-go. So I'm glad it's at the high school stadium. It'll be the first time in a long time, and it will be different. But we're willing to help in any way that we can.
And congratulations.
I'll volunteer Brian McCarver for whatever y'all need.
And it will spray for all the walls.
Yeah.
You're a smart man. But you know,
Thank you, man.
Get lost where we're at. Policies. Okay. One second. All right, next thing for the policy section 4 revisions because of the, going back, changing to semester, two semesters.
High school is returning back from a trimester, a 360-day window to a 290-day window. It changes the board policies reflected in your board packet. And what it does is make it inclusive of the rules that are already being applicable to the lower grades. With their state testing, you've got to have a certain percentage of that state test that counts toward your final overall grade for those tested subjects. it's 15%, but the calculation's a little bit different when you're dealing with 60-day windows as compared to 2 90-day windows. So these policies that you have in front of you, those 4, have items within the policy. It doesn't change the whole policy because there's a lot of content there. I included in yours where the policy's changed, like policy 4.605 graduation requirements, talking to Coach Murley. We have reduced it from a 25. Now this would be entering freshmen for this year, 2021 school year, but entering freshmen will be required 24 credits instead of 25. Still, the state minimum is 22, so we're still ahead of that. And we would have to manage all the requirements of those 24 to include all the math, English, science, social studies, the requirements for their either CTE or program of study. So we would still follow all of that information, but these are just reflective of the slight tweaking that these policies require because of going to a semester 7-period day.
Question, why are we lowering it?
Why we're lowering it?
Why are we lowering it?
Before, when we were a 7-period day, we had 22 credits required. Then the state was a minimum of 18,
Yes.
and then it went up to 20.
Yeah.
When we went to our trimester schedule, we had such a significant amount of the possible credits. To keep that, you would have seniors entering their last year not required to take anything other than a math and an English. So what we're trying to do is keep it to where they're going to be engaged in learning, but also with opportunities, I would say, it provides more opportunities for more students to be open to dual enrollment. Does that say right, Coach?
I make a motion, we approve the revisions of policy section 4.
Second. All right, we have a motion to approve the policy changes. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That will be approved. We'll go to number 5, which, well, I believe that's just, we've got to have the board approve this, but it's for the different programs.
If the board is willing to accept the federal dollar from the government, then you have to, and this is something that is, I would assume it's always been there, but it's not been enforced at the level that the current administration at our state requires. So there's a form that Bob has to sign with me as the chairman, but it has to be reflected in the board minutes that the board accepts the federal funds as they come in. Randall Fenimore is our point of contact for most of our federal funds, and then Melinda Parker does the funds related to the special needs students.
Motion and second to approve these funds coming in. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That is approved. Next thing was our superintendent evaluation. I've got those. I will have all the results for the next meeting. And next thing will be going down to the approve the final budget.
Yes, sir. You want me to say anything?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say just a little bit, but I think I'd rather defer to the one brain trust in the room. Stacy.
I think the only thing that I would add is the only thing that has changed from the time that you approved the first draft of the budget are line items for property tax, and it increased by $52,700. Prior year property tax, it increased by $1,000, and clerk and master collections decreased by $11,000. So we had an overall increase in revenue on this draft of $42,700, which if you'll notice your fund balance, the hit to your fund balance was decreased by that much. So other than that, every other line item that you saw in May is exactly the same, except for this. And it's more revenue. So unless you have other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
In your packet, I compared the April estimate with the May estimate. You see the little bit of tweaking that happens, but then what we don't know is what the June estimate will be. State government, again, it's a delay of a few months before we actually know what the impact. Right now, the results are for March.
Well, the.
State revenue.
Well, that's just our sales tax
Sales
revenue that
tax
I
revenue.
shared earlier, yeah, and we're still, on target to exceed what we budgeted for the current year in sales tax. So we will have an excess for this year in sales tax revenue. So that's just as far as our local sales tax that we collect.
Local
Yeah.
sales tax.
Local
So,
sales.
so we will come in higher for our current year on that. What we're unsure of will be the state funding for the estimate that we get for GU. And we're normally we get it around the 15th of the month, but they've already said that will probably be delayed. These numbers are based on what we know now, the estimates that we have now.
Motion approved.
Second. So we have a motion and a second to approve the final draft of the budget. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That is approved. And only other thing we've got is a few updates, but the main thing to be in the updates will be the tentative meeting scheduled for next year. At the very bottom page of looking at 2021 to
I mean, right now, I don't know if it's.
We can.
We can adjust it as needed,
Yeah.
like we've done in the past,
Yeah.
but this gives you dates close to where we had them for this current year. And that just gives us because this is our last meeting for this fiscal year.
God, so just go with it and with the offer.
That's what I'm saying, we've always changed if people have a problem with it.
You want to put it on
Do we need to do a motion?
Good idea.
Second.
We have motion second to approve the tentative schedule for next year's meetings. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, and it is approved. So what that will mean is our July meeting will be on July the 16th here at the board office. Okay, does anybody on the board have anything else?
Let's go, why don't we replace the air conditioning that Williams Auditorium?
It was part of our plan. Brett, you want to talk to that? The question is why we're replacing the HVAC at the Williams?
Of the three places that we have that are up for it, that was the.
But they're
They're the oldest.
Well, they're just 16 years old, or I was wondering. I quoted up on the board package.
You have to be on the board then.
I think that's still high school.
It's supposed to issues we've had with them.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering that, because of the age of them, they don't run all the time like the ones at the high school did, and they were, 22, 23 years old.
They were
18, no, they were over
18 to 20, aren't they?
over 20. That's 21 or 2 years old.
They don't make them like they used to.
Just 2 years different. But I mean, that was the only question I had.
Their services, we've had to service them pretty good. I don't know if they were I wasn't there when they bought, so I don't, just their.
So they're very large units, very large units.
Well, that's
When they go
320s and 2 4s. And it's, well, at the time where the venue itself was gonna be used a lot, so until this COVID's released, now we go back to the venues, but they've had issues, but we've had two sides have had a lot of issues.
But I'm just wondering because of that.
We've had 3 places that I've evaluated. Jacks Creek has some, Westchester has some on the newer building that are real old. And then the auditorium those are the 3 places. That was the one that had the most service calls.
Probably be good to have these if we're gonna have programs and all there, rather than older.
At the time, we were having more programs.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we will return to those.
Yeah.
And then with the theaters and so forth, but they've had a lot. of service.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if we had issues with them or what.
They have.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Get that, please.